All right, so now we have Smyslov.
Smyslov with white against Fischer. I mean, Smyslov was the one of the world champions. And this time Bobby played with black, against, he played Sicilian against e4. And one of the most, the sharpest variation from Sicilian, the Najdorf variation, called Najdorf after the Grandmaster Najdorf, in his honor. Bishop g5, the Richter-Rauser attack, Bishop g5, e6, f4, Bishop e7, Queen f3, Queen c7. Well, even now, this is one of the main lines of this variation. Okay, castle and knight bd7 and g4. Okay, g4 theory, everything theory. And b5. And now, after b5, he took with the knight, g5, knight d7, and now there are many possibilities. The theory considers one of the main lines here, a3. The other main line in the modern theory is to give immediately a pawn by playing f5. It gives the pawn from g5, but everything is very, very complicated afterwards. Well, a lot of analysis and so on. Okay, Smyslov played something else, which is considered also okay for white. Important move theoretically, bishop h3, but probably not the best. The other two lines are probably better, I told you. And some other possibility, is also h4 instead of bishop h3, preparing f5, you see. Okay, bishop h3. Now again, b4 very quickly now. Now the knight comes back to e2 and bishop b7. All right. Knight g3, so, okay, normal. Knight g3 was the best move. Yeah. Smyslov played first king b1. And now this small tempo gives a very good play for black, But it's again move by move. It's not very easy. So, okay, king b1 is a normal move in Sicilian, but here in this line is not the best. It was a little bit better to play first knight g3 immediately, you see. So, okay, knight c5, knight g3, of course, because now black wanted to take the pawn in e4, no?
Yeah.
And now black has time to push the pawn in d5, you see. And now white has to take a decision what to do. If he plays e5, the attack comes, very slowly and probably has not enough. After e5, black can even play g6. And you can't push the pawn afterwards, If you push the pawn, you have to sacrifice something, And if the sacrifice is not good enough, you are lost probably because you gave a piece, in f5. So, okay, he wanted to attack. He took the risk and he pushed the pawn, immediately. And now, as I told you, it's move by move. Okay, so now he took in e4, queen g4. All right, now he takes in f5. He took there. It seems dangerous for black,
Yeah.
But after g6, again, you have to take a decision what to do. If you go to h6, for the moment, black can't castle, immediately. But if he can move 2-3 moves and nothing happens, he is clearly better. And the knight from h6 is a little bit too far later on, After knight h6, maybe a very strong move, a little bit strange, but good in this position, bishop c8, Now you have to take a decision what to do. If black has 2-3 moves, then he's much better, The idea after bishop c8 is to take another pawn, the pawn from g5. You have to move the queen to h4, and then he takes in h3, you take in h3, and bishop takes g5. 2 pawns up for black, and okay, you have to show what can you do with white, you see? But until then, you have you sacrifice 2 pawns. No? So now you have to take a decision. Taking in e7, it seems that white has some initiative, but we'll see it's not enough, you see? Because black controls the central squares, and therefore, with pawn up, he's better already after the opening, Okay, queen takes e7, and now queen f4 with the idea to put the rook in d6 and maybe later on rook f6, like in their game, you see. All right, queen f4, castle. Okay, now we see the result is okay for black because black survived the opening, like always in Sicilian. If you don't lose quickly after the opening, it's okay for black, And this game will also a very good example. What can happen, you see, later on. So, okay, rook d6, rook d8. All right, everything normal until now. Rook f6, okay. He realized his idea, but you see, the pawn is in e4 and it's pawn up for black, you see. Safe enough the position. White has something, some hope to provoke some weaknesses and so on, but it's not enough. Okay, rook d5, very logical. Bishop g4. I mean, he hopes to come with the pawn, h4, h5, and so on, something. So knight d7. Now you are forced to take after rook f1, After rook f1, he played e3, no? Or what?
Yes.
E3, very good move again. If he took in f6, was not good because after g takes f6, queen somewhere, he has time to put the queen in h6 and black is lost.
Yeah.
So you have to be a little bit careful with black, But e3 is a very logical move and very good one, So e3. Now, what to do? Again, you have to take a decision and, okay, he waits a little bit. But now it's different. After b3, he puts the rook in d2 and he threatens something already. I mean, now he's threatening rook f2 and later on has time. He threatens to take the exchange in f6. And if he comes to this, it's decisive. Black wins, So now again, it's move by move. What to do with white? If you take in d7, if you don't win very quickly with white, I mean, you have to win the pawn back and have some very good tactical chances. If nothing happens in 3-4 moves, then it's clear that black is always better, and almost decisive. So, okay, he takes back with the rook, and now you can show what can you do with black, or with white, All right, he attacked the pawn from e3, but it's very easy now he protects the pawn, and now he has to take a decision again. What can he do? I mean, you see the rook in f6, it seems, has a very good position, but is doing nothing for the moment, So, right, he played h4. He wants to threaten something, So, okay, and after what he played? Queen c5, yes, queen c5. Now again, queen c4, sad, but it seems the best move. I mean, white has, the only hope for white is to do something with the c pawn, He tries to advance very quickly the c pawn, c5, c6, This is the best hope for white, here. But black is better in all positions, starting from here. Okay, calmly he took in c4, he took, and rook d4. Now, if nothing happens very quickly, we'll have finally a very good counterplay for black and finally a completely winning endgame. Like it happened in their game, finally. And, okay, he took now 2 pawns up for black. So c6 now, and bishop c8, okay. Everything is stopped, but black has to play very carefully until, the last phase of this line. Because if he is doing something wrong, then white has some counter chess, Okay, rook d6 and okay, rook c4, the best move now. And king b2. Okay, after king b2, king g7, black waits, King b3, and now again, move by move, but very, very simple for black. He's attacking the knight, and he's attacking the pawn, the last pawn. I mean, if he takes in g5, he's completely winning for black, Okay, so knight back, and now, after knight e2, he has time to move the other rook, Because now, after king g7, rook d8 is not a threat, If you play rook d8, you lose simply the pawn from c6, and it's clear,
Yeah.
So, okay, after rook e6, rook d1, the only move, and now rook g2. Now you see why it's so dangerous, the position. It's very simple. The position is lost for white because of the e-pawn, The pawn from e3 controls everything, threatens to come very quickly, and it's enough to give completely winning game in all positions, for black. So, okay, after knight f4, he took in d6. He has to take in d6, of course. And now rook d2. Now, again, if you take in d2, you can resign, because it's queen afterwards in one move.
Yeah.
So now you have to move something, but what? The only move is rook d3. And after rook d3, he moves again the rook, attacking the knight. And again, he's giving the possibility to move something, but he's threatening bishop f5, If he comes to f5, everything comes with tempo again for black, you see. So, right, the game was rook d4, forced, And here, e2, again, forced, knight d3, the only move. No. And here, bishop f5, very nice. Again, move by move, very simple. Black is winning in a few moves, forced, you see. So now c7, again, the only move. At least he hopes to make a queen also, yeah. So here, he played rook f3. Okay, so the only possibility to take the pawn, the dangerous pawn from e2, is to play the move played by Smyslov in their game. He makes queen. Black takes in c8, and now has time to put the rook in e4, taking the pawn, from e2.
Yes.
But it's much too late because every endgame is completely lost for white, you see. And now after bishop f5, he loses at least another pawn, and okay, So takes, king takes there, and rook d5. Okay, he could resign already here, But okay, they played some moves in time trouble. Takes, and a4, and g5, and what? Rook c2, rook d6, king there, and rook e5, and white resign. But very clear. Yes. Now the 2 pawns are coming, No counterplay at all for white. And black is playing alone, you see. Demonstration. See? One of the games where black could show what happens in Sicilian when nothing comes very quickly for white in the first 15, 20 moves, you see.
When it survives the opening.
Yeah, if you survive the opening, it's almost always like this, The black counterattack comes very strong, later on. And, okay, black can show that has a very good chance to win.
Yes.
But really a demonstration now. Again, Bobby very young, you see, 15 years old. Look.
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.